Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP Morning Show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show live stream and the podcast. How are you this morning? Tudo bem? Como estás? Do let me know in the chat. And pictures and videos, please, to 000351, the Portugal country code, and 913-590-303. Now, quite frankly, it's a little bit of a My Little Pony day for me this morning. I'm feeling a little hoarse. We were up quite late last night with the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. Excellent evening, sampling wines from the Alentejo region, and very good they were too. I mean, basically, we commend to the house the idea that Alentejano wines are incredible. Not Alentejo, as you're about to find out. This is a real mystery. I'm going to play you a fantastic video from the region. Whether you like wine or not, I think you'll find this video absolutely stunning and beautiful as a wonderful promotional film about the region. But the voiceover artist calls it Alentejo for some reason. I don't know. Nobody put him right on that. And I'm I live in a glass house, don't I, when it comes to throwing stones around pronunciation. But you'd have thought, wouldn't you, if he's representing the region in this capacity, that he would have got some coaching and pronunciation notes from somebody or other. But anyway, you'll find out for yourself in just a moment. And we've got one of João F's little videos of the area too. And that's really the theme this morning. We can do a little bit of Portugal quiz action if we go over to the Portugal Club. Where next? I'm asking over there. And the question this morning then, John and I will be talking about his recent Algarve adventures and upcoming wanderings to Spain, France and Italy in March on the show this morning. He also fancies a trip to the world's longest pedestrian suspension bridge, which is in Portugal. It's not the world's longest suspension bridge in Portugal. It's the world's longest suspension bridge in the world, of course. It kind of says so, doesn't it, when I start the sentence like that? But do you know it? And do you know it? And do you know where it is? You can guess over at the Portugal Club, gmpvip.com. And these two here, what's that? Is that that YouTube channel, The World in Our Pocket? Something along those lines. You can watch their video with a very good YouTube slide there. Is it worth it? I've got a feeling they think it is worth it. But as I was looking at the website this morning, and I'll play you a video from the official website a little bit later on when John joins me at 9. It's €12 to walk the suspension bridge, which is by Portuguese standards, I think, quite I mean, it's not a lot of money, is it, for a visitor attraction, but it is quite high compared, relatively speaking, to a lot of other attractions, which are either free or considerably cheaper than that, I would say. But so let me know what you think. And we're also going to take a little bit more of a look at the news before John joins us. We're talking of traveling in and around Portugal. Last night, I recorded a Portugal news and info vid, really focusing on politics, on the police and farmers' action at the moment, prison officers also getting involved in that, and the demonstrations in Lisbon over the last weekend, which George Branco amply covers as well. So we'll do a little bit on that because George Branco's coverage, quite frankly, is better than mine. So we'll have a look at what George has to say as well. And of course, your comments coming through on in the chat and on 913-590-303. There's João already getting ready, having a coffee, I suspect, and getting ready for his appearance on the Good Morning Portugal show. Very foggy here this morning up in the north. It is here too. It is truly the Silver Coast as I look out of the window this morning. Hopefully that will be burnt off. I've made a little cat seat in the garden, and it's draped beautifully in dew-ridden, dew-covered cobwebs this morning. That's quite the sight. So, yeah, it's misty and dewy here on the Silver Coast, and I suspect it's not dissimilar for you up there in the north. And we haven't talked about the north for a little while with you, João de Norte. We'll find out what's going on Ponte De Lima, as well as your aspirations for travel in Portugal and beyond this morning. Oh, talking of Ponte De Lima and the north, Bob Wenger also in. Good morning to you, Bob. How are you doing? And Squire of the Shires, bon dia todos. And Michael Barton chose the same Alentejano wine as I did. I had Chinese Terry over joining me in the studio, and we had 3 bottles. I think we never get around to all of those, and we did, and that's why it's yes, a My Little Pony, feeling a little hoarse this morning, drinking plenty of water. A God Squad tip of the day incoming as well, and greetings from James too today, and those videos of the Alentejano region for you to come, as well as the High Wire, which I'll save for when John joins us. Bom dia, Campos. Feliz terça a todos. Okay, tem feito from James, and a mindful moment. And let's do this. When you're young, you're always worrying what other people are thinking about you. When you reach middle age, you no longer care what other people think of you. And when you're old, you realize everyone was just thinking about themselves all along. That is profound, is it not? Oh, and is this recycled from yesterday? Because we didn't get round to it, did we? And it was a good production note after the show. Let's not save any material for the end, because what happens when we save material for the end is that we don't get to it because we get too excited and carried away and we run out of time. This was the visual from yesterday. Thank you for this, James. And we'll come back to your mindful dad joke in just a moment. Meditation, young fella sat precariously on the ledge of a building there, or on the roof of a building. Meditation, because some questions can't be answered by Google. Yes, and I was hearing Caroline Mace. Anybody interested in Caroline Mace? I was listening to one of her videos yesterday, and she was talking, of course, about if you try and answer a question in this realm that we live in, and it's with the senses and with the mind. It can only be wrong in a sense, because it doesn't access all of our faculties. And I think that's what this meme is getting at here, isn't it? With meditation, things beyond your senses and thoughts can furnish the inquiry, the human inquiry, and the big questions of the human and humanity. So there you go, meditation, because some questions can't be answered by Google or the sensory and mental consciousness alone or grasp of this realm. Sorry, am I talking like I've been staying up too late? That's probably because I have been staying up too late. Okay, mindful dad joke then to go with that. I'm thinking of going on an online digital detox program, and I'm thinking there's a punchline coming. But then, of course, yes, I'm thinking of going on an online digital detox program. Very good. Thank you, James, very much indeed. Yeah, and sorry we didn't get to those yesterday. And very good idea. Let's not save things for the end of the show, because by the time the end of the show comes, we've run out of time to do them. Another paradox and irony there. And this was the show starter meme, your starter meme for 10 yesterday morning, which I also didn't return to. But this is a brilliant sign that Antonio Barbosa shared with us. He wasn't able to join us this morning, or not able to join us this morning. He's on tour, but his coverage of what's going on in the world of real estate, it remains strong at the Portugal Club. So if you want to find out what Antonio Barbosa's thinking about the real estate industry, you can find out over at the Portugal Club, gmpvip.com. And he sent me this fantastic picture as well. My husband is for sale. I think probably that might be tourists knocking on the doors of pretty properties. Does anyone recognize that? Has anyone seen that before? Would that be Lisbon? Would it be Porto? I was pretty certain it's Portugal, looking at the road sign and the architecture. And I'm thinking maybe Tomar. Tomar has streets that look like that, but that could be Porto, it could be Lisbon, it could be Tomar. And I think it may be the reaction of somebody who's fed up with people knocking on the door saying, is this place for sale? Looking for a place to buy? No, but my husband is. Hopefully, well, maybe she's got her asking price. I'm not sure. Does anyone else know how that story ends right there? Pete, we missed you last night. Bon dia alegria. You know, when you're in Portugal, when the mayor has just put on 6 party and that doesn't even include the Festa and Carnival. Oh, I see. The mayor is promoting 6 parties, not including Festa and Carnival. And woohoo, my Japanese toilet seat is arriving today. I will be laser. This is when I went to the. Are you really having one of these, Pete? Because this reminds me of the dairy farm I went to over the weekend, which I think I might have mentioned it yesterday. It was a disturbing experience in quite a lot of ways. And it was also quite awesome in the sense that the technology being used on these cows is not unlike what you're describing here, where you'll be laser targeted, washed, blow dried, and fluff. And as Eusebio says, Prof, Eusebio, I remember him. We miss you. Eusebio, I think he got the hump with me and left. As Eusebio says, the most fun you can have on your own. A Japanese toilet seat arriving in Fundao then, maybe today. Is it self-assembly, self-installation, or do you have to have a team of Japanese engineers also coming round to organize that for you and sit there while you have your first go on it, perhaps? Pete, what are you doing in there? Just another 5 minutes. Okay, well, is that for real, Pete? Because the thing is, I can believe that. And yes, we missed you last night on the Wine Club. You promised, or you didn't promise, you suggested, you alluded to the fact that you had 4 litres of Alentejo on your desk ready to be drunk. Maybe you got to them earlier than we did, and that's why we didn't see you on the wine tasting last night. We put Diane's son on eBay, and he amazingly sold, but no one came to pick him up. That'll teach him. Is that also for real, Pete? Because I can believe that too. Good morning, Portugal from Lila. Nice to see you as one of our audience members last night on the Wine Club. Great fun, good chat. Yes, definitely Alentejo wines. Reliable, excellent, whatever the price, we're looking at €3.5 up to, I think, maybe €7 or €8, all good. And we were just nitpicking on the nuances. Nothing wrong at all with any of the Alentejo wines we tried last night, and a thoroughly enjoyable evening. And a little bit more talk about wine etiquette. When you take wine to a friend or host's house for dinner, do you expect to drink that wine? Do you expect them to put it in their cellar? What do you think is the etiquette on that? Relative to leaving things until the end, Carl, that's why we're here in Portugal. Didn't want to leave things we wanted to do until the end and not get it done. Well said. Now, also talking of Portugal and life in Portugal, where would you put yourself on this triangle? This is on my mind. I was going to write about disease X, as in disease expat, for my next Portugal resident column. But I realized that with what's going on, what I'm calling 2020 furore, see what I did there, I'm on this triangle again, and I'm just trying to plot where I am. When I first came to Portugal, it was to be a prepper, like some of our community, out on a quinta and getting off mentally and physically. And then I became a Pollyanna soon after that and forgot all about my prepping ideas in Portugal. Portugal prepper turned to Portugal Pollyanna. And then a little bit, as the edges were rubbed off me, became a bit more of a Portugal pragmatist. And I think the balance of these things for the times we're living in is quite a useful little guide here. And I feel myself swinging back to more the prepper mindset, I have to say, and a little bit away from the Pollyanna. And I think maybe striking a balance in the bottom of that triangle there between pragmatist and prepper at the moment. Let me know if that makes any sense to you whatsoever and where you find yourself on that, Dr. Prepper. And what you're thinking, because one of the things that if we get round to looking at George Branco's news coverage and the idea again, the reality that Portuguese farmers are blocking the roads with tractors, that is going to upset the food supply, folks. I did say this, didn't I? I was talking about this. I don't want to be too much of a doom monger, but get some extra supplies in. I think food supply will be disturbed with what the farmers are doing. So don't leave yourself unprepared. And of course, the word prepper, like anti-vaxxer and all these other kinds of lazy shorthands for slagging people off and judging them, often get people, pushing emotional buttons. And it's difficult. The language is difficult, isn't it? It's not long until people are triggered and upset by just the use of words. But let's stick to the meaning behind the words and ask each other what we mean. Pete relates to the triangle somewhere between prepper and Pollyanna. The issue is we have about 3 years worth of food, but still can't resist amusing vegetables in the market. Sent you a rude parsnip, Carl. Thank you, Pete. Nothing. Who doesn't like a rude parsnip first thing in the morning? And thank you, Michael, for your lovely picture of Miranda de Córdoba, of course, the patron saint of Miranda de Corvo will be with us on Friday for a little bit of Friday. She'll be with us. I can't see your parsnip, Pete, which might be a blessing, quite frankly. Oh no! Oh my word, matron! That's coming onto the screen in just a moment. Not too disgusting. Quite frankly, quite sweet, really. The Pete's parsnip. In fact, we could have a whole section of the show, couldn't we? Pete's parsnip moment of amusingly shaped vegetables. This just looks like if when I were a lad, we didn't have Action Man. We had to play with oddly shaped vegetables. Here's my Action Man on my Barbie doll from when I was a kid, and we lived on a farm. Just need to fashion the top half now out of something else, maybe out of a swede or a turnip, Pete. That's beautiful. Thank you. And the look, Miranda de Corvo. Let's just move the Pete's comment off for the moment so we can see the full glory of Miranda de Corvo. That's a beautiful scene. Wow, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much, Michael, for that. And you chose the same wine as me, and I think you enjoyed it. A slightly bitter finish, but not in a bad way. Necessarily not the full flavors of some of the greatest Alentejo wines, but very serviceable, good enough to be drinking while we were having a little bit of a sampling last night and a bit of a chat. Did someone say peppers and bananas? I said preppers and Pollyannas. Their job. We'll talk more about that if you would like, as well as the many other things we'll be talking about this morning. Your trip to the Algarve, of course, your plans to go further afield in Europe. And where is that suspension bridge? Does anybody know where the suspension bridge is? Oh, I'm glad people are taking part in this. I just thought, and it might be one of those things where it's like, oh, Carl, what are you talking about? But no, Pollyanna leading towards Prepper 2 there in Miranda de Corvo. So thank you for that. And who was it who sent me this? Morning meditation. Is that Will Ferrell there underneath that beautiful aura? Morning meditation got me like that. Butterflies and farting unicorns, basically. Who was it who sent that in? James, of course. Thank you very much for that, for your visual. And let's accompany that, shall we, with your mindful dad joke. Or did we already do that? We already did that, didn't we? I must take more ginkgo. I can remember what I've done and haven't done. And he hasn't answered, has he, if his Japanese toilet seat is really arriving in Fundao this morning. So let me play you a video now then of the Alentejo. A couple of videos I've got, in fact. One only 30 seconds from our own community, from João F, who we see from time to time. One of our great friends, actually, and a great help to this community from time to time. And the wines of Alentejo. You'll see how the voiceover artist pronounces this now. And this, you might continue or develop a little bit of a wince as he says it again and again and again throughout this video. So if you're nursing a cup of tea or coffee this morning, sit back and enjoy this. It's absolutely beautiful.
There is a strong link between the Alentejo and wine, which can be seen in the presence of vineyards in the region which date back over 1,000 years, giving it a history which is as rich as it is diverse. Tartessians and Phoenicians, Greeks and Romans, Christians and Muslims all passed through here. The Portuguese received a historic, technological and cultural legacy from all these civilizations, which continues to this day. The Alentejo is in the southern part of Portugal and makes up more than a third of its land area, with a very traditional, unchanged landscape. The great majority of the region is inland and has a very marked continental climate, with very hot summers and cold winters. There is, however, an Atlantic coastal strip, the Costa Vicentina, which is milder and wetter at all seasons of the year. The absence of any mountain ranges which would form a condensation barrier means that the influence of the sea is quickly dissipated at a short distance from the coast. The gently undulating plains extend across the whole of the Alentejo, although there are a few important orographic accidents. The Serra de Salmamed at 1,025 meters and the Serra d'Ossa at 600 meters are the most significant. and have lower temperatures and more humidity than the surrounding plains. The soils of the Alentejo are very heterogeneous. There is schist, agate, different types of clay, marble, limestone and granite in countless combinations. The Alentejo has been a denominación de origen, a designation of origin, since 1988, divided into 8 sub-regions. The north, Porto Alegre; the central zone, Borba, Redondo, Reguengos and Évora; further south, Vidigueira, Granja Amareleja and Moura. The Porto Alegre is the most original, with the different geographical topography of the Sierra de Salmamed and old vines from mixed species of grapes, which are grown at elevations of more than 600 meters. This wine has elegance and minerality. Then there is the classicism of the wines from Évora, dating back to the 15th century, and the perfect equilibrium of the ones from Borba as a result of its special microclimate. In Redondo, the vineyards are sheltered by the Sierra Dosa, while the poor soils and rocky outcrops which dramatize the landscapes of Reguengos produce full-bodied, powerful wines. Vidigueira has original, fresh wines and a great tradition of white wines, with the Falha da Vidigueira affecting the climate, funneling the influence of the sea to this inland area. It is here too that we find the largest number of producers of Vino d'Italia, a Roman wine-making technique involving the storage of wine in clay jugs, which has been practiced in the Alentejo for 2,000 years without a break, and is closely associated with this area of Portugal. Finally, the hottest and most arid regions, Granja Amareleja and Moura, produce wines correspondingly full-bodied, smooth, and of high alcoholic content. There are many indigenous, high-quality species of grapes from traditional plots. The best-known whites are Antalvage, Roupeiro, and Arinto, while the classic reds include Aragonês, Trincadeira, and Alicante Bouschet. All the Alentejo wines have abundant and seductive fruitiness, are full-bodied, and incredibly consistent, harvest after harvest. When analyzing the diversity of styles, we should take into account not only the terroir, but also the dynamism and creativity of the wine producers. The Alentejo is synonymous with purity, with unique products, with unrivaled cuisine, with biodiversity, with a spirit that lives and breathes in a liberating landscape. This is our vast, immense Alentejo.
And a great strapline too. There we go. That's wonderful, isn't it? And you can see that at Vinhos do Alentejo. Unique by nature is a strapline. Absolutely superb. See what they did there? Unique by nature. And a wonderful video. But Alentejo, why does he say that? But I guess, who am I to cast nasturtiums when it's me that says Lagos instead of Lagos, of course. I'm stuck in that. Maybe, yes. I counted it 9 times. Alentejo. I'm sure that really grated for you, James, just as it does when I say Lagos as well. Excellent comments coming in. Another quick Alentejo video for you. And then a God Squad tip of the day before we say hello to João de Norte this morning. So this is João F's. This was a little tribute to the Alentejo that he made for us a little while back now, and I've been holding it back for the right moment, and this would appear to be it. The atmosphere of the Alentejo, Alentejo, I think, is as good as it's going to get from my pronunciation this morning. Tejo, like Porto. And it means, I believe, beyond the Tejo, of course, the Tejo River, the name given to it possibly by the Moors, maybe by the Romans. We were discussing that last night, but Alentejo. And that beautiful atmosphere that João F managed to capture in 30 seconds there, which reminds me when I'm driving through the Alentejo from let's say, south of Lisbon through to the Algarve, you get that vast stretch of road, don't you? With that, if the sun is lower in the sky and just shining through the cork oaks, it's absolutely beautiful. That vast agricultural scenery there. So delighted to have paid a little bit of a tribute to the Alentejo this morning. And I think James is still struggling with that. Oh, Carl, Lagos is correct, not Lagos. Yes, it is not. Thank you very much for that. Paul Richards, appreciating the great video. Nice BBC voice there. A calming presence and influence on our lives. The great... Yeah, you could say any old thing, any old rubbish, couldn't you? But if you said it nicely in a BBC voice, 2 + 2 = 5. You'd walk away thinking, it does equal 5. It's so reassuring. Bon dia. The Times of London said it, and so did the BBC in that beautiful voice. Bon dia, James, and all you lovely gumpers from earlier this morning at around 10 minutes past 8. All you lovely gumpers. Looks like a lovely day here in the mountains. Blue sky, no wind, and very mild. Good start to the day there. Off for a walk later. But first, coffee! And the God Squad tip of the day then from Coach Turner, providing an excellent service to us, despite, or maybe because inspired by his few days away. And that was, the video I showed yesterday was the rugby match of the Six Nations of England playing Italy. Brilliant video. We'll be walking for a couple of hours today, so there's a few things to consider before we leave. Do we have sufficient clothes in case we stop for some reason and cool down? And are our shoes suitable for the terrain? And perhaps more importantly, do we have sufficient water? Walking around here is never easy, so you can dehydrate quickly. Where are you exactly? You're in Switzerland, aren't you? Better safe than sorry. Going for an Alp. Oh, Chamonix, I believe, if I remember correctly. So you got. Is it snowy and icy over there? You need some ankle support, I would have thought, for your wander this morning. Thank you very much for your God Squad tips of the day, and especially that one. Have a super day over there in Chamonix, which that's not Switzerland. Is that France? Forgive me. You know what? Paul Richards is going to know exactly where Chamonix is, and I'm expecting that incoming any moment there. Okay, it sure is true. All right. This is Pete's Japanese toilet seat. I think, do you know what? It's 9 o'clock, so I'm going to bring John on, because I think John might like to chat with me about Japanese toilet seats. He wasn't expecting to today, but let's see what he's got to say about it. João Norte joins us on the screen. Hey, John, how are you?
Very good. Got to finish that last slip of coffee.
Yes, no, true. If it's good. I sometimes have a cold drink with me here by 10 o'clock in the morning, not had the right moment to drink the last little drop as you did there. Have you ever used a Japanese toilet seat, John?
No, not a Japanese one, but I have used many Chinese ones.
I would say they're low-tech rather than high-tech. Am I right?
Well, in my case, in my experience, very much so.
Right. Lucky to have a seat, I think, sometimes. But look at this. Pete is going to be looking forward to a warmed seat in the morning. I would have thought Di would have been happy to do that for you. Noises to prevent embarrassing explosion sounds. So is it playing the Four Seasons whilst you're sat there and cover me, so to speak? And the alarming sensor that opens the lid, maybe not the illuminated bowl option. That's a little bit too German or Gillian McKeith for Pete. I'd like to see a video, Pete, not of you using it. If you could put it in demo mode, and so that we can see a video of that. I'm up for that. Maybe not when John's here. He's shaking his head on that one. So we shall see. I'm between Pollyanna and Pragmatist on that triangle. Not bananas and peppers, John, but Pollyannas.
Yeah, they don't go well together.
Yeah, after 4 hours spent yesterday getting a package freed from customs. That sounds very serious. Always a nightmare. Says Bob. Most people we know have told friends and family not to send stuff. Yeah, it is. Are you the same, John? Have you told people to forget it?
Yeah, we had some calendars that we had made in the States and sent here for Christmas to give to friends, and I think they cost something like 40-50 euros to get out of hostage, to pay the ransom to get.
So it's to be fair, they would CTT would call it import duty, wouldn't they? They wouldn't call it ransom, but it might as well be called ransom.
It's just a bloody calendar.
It's true, isn't it? It's like, could you send me a T-shirt over from? I'd like a T-shirt. My T-shirt's worn out. I'd like a Grateful Dead T-shirt sent over from the United States. Yes, fine. We can find one of those for you. You know, like official merch, maybe $25, and then it gets here, and it's like $25 plus 40 euros to get it free, to pay the ransom, as it were. And it really isn't worth it. And that would appear to be the same whether it's from the UK or the US. So yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame. And what it makes me wonder, John, is there must be so much stuff held to ransom, as you put it. What do you think they do with it? Do they send it back in the end, or is there a massive, like, Raiders of the Lost Ark warehouse just outside Lisbon full of all this stuff that nobody wants?
I don't know what they do with it all. I mean, I guess you sell it, just hand it out or sell it to your friends and family when you're for all the merchandise that's not claimed.
Yeah, and it's just a little bit awkward, I suppose, seeing your postman wearing his new Grateful Dead T-shirt when he's delivering the rest of your mail. Maybe that's what happens. Maybe they flog it off cheap. Let's see what else is being said. We're going to talk to you, of course, about your trip to the Algarve. You'd have gone through the Alentejo, which you say is another place you've yet to visit. You've driven through it then, presumably, in the last few weeks, but not stayed there.
Yeah, I mean, we took the train, so we huffed and puffed through the Alentejo, but didn't stop anywhere. Unless, well, no, I don't think the little town called Tunis. I think that's in the Algarve, not technically in the Alentejo, because it's in the northern Algarve. That's a little whistle stop place that you switch trains to go to the regional trains that go along the coast.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. The review of Alentejo wines from Coach Turner is they've all been wonderful. I would agree with that. What about you? When you're selecting wine, do you reach for an Alentejo from time to time?
Mostly staying up in the Minho. So we have plenty of reds up here too.
Oh, so you're patriotic, as it were. I don't know what's the local equivalent of patriotic. It has like a bit of a put down, doesn't it?
Red ports and red Vinho Verdes and just plain old, good red wines as well.
Yeah. Okay. If you only spent 4 hours, you're very lucky getting a parcel, says Antonio F. The only time I had to deal with customs, it took me about a month. My goodness. And I counted 9 Alentejos there. That did great a bit towards the end there. Maybe it is in another dimension. Is that Pete talking about his Japanese toilet seat again? I wonder. It could be. OLP. Sorry we didn't see you last night. A bon dia car on all you lovely gumpers from a snowy Montana this morning. And the Alentejo is like the Norfolk of Portugal. The land is very flat and the people pleasingly also have webbing and extra fingers and toes. Stop it, Peter. Philomena, who will be with us on Friday. Just trucking James. That's our Carl with new pronunciation. It wasn't me. Philomena's going to tell me off. It wasn't me who did that voiceover, Philomena. And good morning to you. But good on you. You are noticing and choosing to correct it. Now all that's left is acting consistent with your choice. Thank you very much there, James, for your support. France. Okay, France. Chamonix is in France, everybody, not Switzerland. Have you been to Chamonix, John?
No, but I mean, I've been to it, but not in the wintertime. It's supposed to be good skiing.
It's known for its skiing.
I had a friend here that went there during December and only stayed for a couple of days because it was terrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was kind of wet, sloppy.
Oh, nobody likes that first thing in the morning. We've been through the long journey in customs before as well. Weeks once and paying a Portuguese friend for their time to work through it, says Bob. Oh, my goodness. And we've got a lovely snow video. We'll play that, OLP. Thank you very much for that. France. Chamonix is in France. Rugby Colin is here, everybody. But near the border. The weather very warm in the Alps, so snow is soft in the afternoons. Lovely. And a dog squad. Oh, we've got a God squad and a dog squad now. Dog squad tip of the day. Gus says it's past time for his. Yes. Very good. And that picture you sent me. Sorry about the confusion on that. So from the dog squad to the cat squad as well. I thought this was your new cat tucking into a bit of dragon fruit. What was going on there then, John? This is a thing, is it? Cats do like to eat dragon fruit.
Yeah, I just it came up in my feed, and I was like, "What the hell is that?"
It looks
So
really scary, doesn't it?
yeah, I'll send you a quick update picture of our little kitty.
Yeah.
Her name's Prenda, which is Portuguese for gift.
Uh-huh.
So yeah,
Oh, very nice, very nice. Because you have now rehomed or homed or given a home to 2 cats now, haven't you? This is the second one for you.
yeah. This she found us, so we were out for a local walk on the country road that you went on, and she just basically laid herself prostrate at our feet, and just the poor little thing was nothing but skin and bones, and so we took her. We asked the local farmer lady and people if it belonged to anybody or whatever, but boy, it smelled like goat for a couple weeks.
Really?
I was probably living with the goats. But she's in great shape now. The vet, I thought she was only like 3 months old. But when we took her into Dr. Alex, he said that she's actually 6 months because of, you can tell by the teeth. And so she was very malnourished and will probably always be on the small side. But she's very happy now, and she gets along with Tintin. Tintin and her are great friends, running around the house and chasing each other. So,
oh, well done, great job on giving a home to those 2. That's fantastic. And we're not talking about. Sorry, go on, mate.
I was just going to say I sent you the picture.
Oh, excellent.
She's in her bed with a bunch of friends.
Right, excellent. Oh, so she is. Okay, we'll stick that on the screen in just a moment as well. Just saving that now. And Ian. Oh, not much snow in the valley, but at least Mont Blanc still qualifies as a Blanc as well. So we've got that. Thank you very much. A picture of Chamonix this morning, and also from the OLP, a little bit of snow as well. Thank you very much for that too. I shall be playing that before the show's out this morning as well. Thank you very much. Oh, that's Tintin, right?
No, this Tintin's basically orange and white. So he's like he's like marmalade and sugar.
Marmalade, that's the word I was trying to.
Yeah. This one is she's got several names. Oreo is one.
Yes.
Cookie, and then the latest one is Prenda.
Okay,
she looks like she has a blue dot on her nose.
What's that about? Something's going on there. She's it's like a green screen vibe going on there, and there spot Prenda in among her friends there.
Yeah.
We've got a cat. We've got one of our that we've homed here looks a lot like Prenda there, and that hilarious that you should say she smells of goat, because that is a very particular sort of lanolin kind of smell, isn't it?
Yeah,
you get it with the goat cheese as well, don't you? Very strong aroma.
Yeah, it takes a while to wash out. So I tried giving her a bath, which I did give her a bath.
Oh.
She very, very weak, so she didn't put up any struggle or anything.
Oh wow!
But it can be dangerous because unless they can warm up quickly, so you have to be careful that they are kept warm.
Okay.
But after the Dr. Alex recommended getting like baby wipes, and then just wipe her down daily with that to get her coat back to normal. And she wasn't licking herself or anything. She was too weak to do anything.
Yeah.
But she could feed, and so as she got healthier and stronger, then now she's perfectly fine. But for a while it was a bit touch and go.
Lovely. Rugby Conan telling us that his 7th cap. Are you going to compete with Colin here?
No, I think we're down. Yeah. Yeah, you know how they are. Like they might adopt you. So
exactly. I said to I'm not a big cat person. I've got 2 dogs, but I really knew that it would be great for the kids to have and Mrs. M to have a cat. So I said, look, let's open our sort of metaphorical doors, our openness to having a cat, because in Portugal one will turn up. If you just make that kind of having a cat might be nice. A kind of message goes out into the ether, doesn't it? Like, there's a cat clearing center somewhere. It's like, okay, we're getting some vibes from Ponte De Lima or from San Martino de Porto. Dispatch a kitten there immediately. And before we knew it, we suddenly got 3 cats, and the third that was just kind of tipping the balance. That was amazing. When she turned up, she was determined to be here, was all over me, not the cat person of the house, climbing all over me. Our neighbor tried to help us find out if she had a home or not. And the police came out. We had 3 police officers come out to see if this cat had a home. And they had this device for seeing, if there's a chip in the cat. It looked like, it looked to me like they bought a shower head from the Chinese shop they were kind of scanning the cat. Maybe it was like, we need to put on a good show here. And it was I'm sure it was a €1 shower head. But 3 burly police officers trying to scan a cat with a Chinese shop shower head, and like no connection, no record, no chip for this one, all yours. Just like that. And she has made herself at home. And 7th cat for Colin is Kia, all are named after vehicles, I believe. Colin, are we making a video? Can you tell everyone about what we're doing this week as well? Because I'm very excited about that, but I want to get the facts right. Yes, a motoring video. Looking forward to that. But then we need to find out exactly what the brand and model is, Colin. And we have got the picture of Chamonix. Let's take a look at the incoming from the coach this morning. And we'll talk to you, John, soon about your Algarve trip, where else you want to go in Europe, and this suspension bridge. Look at that. So Mont Blanc in the distance there. Are you actually skiing or just yomping and hiking over there, Coach Turner? Thank you very much. And more snow for us later from the OLP in just a little while. A few more comments, and then we'll talk to John about the Algarve. Mindful Midlife Travel are here. Good to see you. We're so excited for our visit in April. Maybe you might like to join us on a Mindful Migration Monday at Mindful Midlife Travel. So good to see you. And if we can help in any way with your planning and your trip to Portugal, you just let us know. Apparently, here's a little bit of a tip, a hack. If you are having things sent into the country, tell your friends and family to send it with a note to say it's a gift, and state the same in the box on the packaging, I guess. It worked with me some 10 years ago, but it took me about a month to have it. Okay, so it still took a long time to get it, but you didn't have to pay tax. And James making that point. And they're gifts. Why are you having to pay import duty? It's not like you're selling it. It's not a commercial advantage in having it. In fact, quite the opposite, as it turns out. Gary Mills, bon dia from a chilly Tokyo. Who doesn't like a chilly Tokyo? First thing in the morning. Wow, Gary Mills, have you got a picture of Tokyo for us? That'd be nice. And it's 6 in the evening there. So a little photo from Tokyo will be wonderful on 913-590-303. And to everyone who's liking, I've been able to make a little note of who's been liking the show this morning. I think on Facebook, funnily enough, Juan Restrepo, Paso Tsotsi, Brendan McAvoy, Simone Costa, and Karen and Mike are watching over there as well. So thanks everyone who's liking and hitting the like button and all that sort of stuff. Don't know how it works, but all the YouTubers say it, don't they? Please subscribe and hit the like button. Oh, and set up notifications. Why not? John, the Algarve, how was it?
Yeah, we spent a week down there. It was mostly a sort of exploratory, just to have a change of scenery, to experience the trains and visit some friends. So we were able to accomplish all the above. It was a question of whether we're going to leave from Viana do Castelo here and then go down, or from Braga, because they're both about equal distance. But Braga is better for long-term parking, so we chose that. And then, so Braga to Lisboa to Tunis to Lagos. So about 8 hours altogether. And
how was that? How would you rate rail travel in Portugal?
Yeah, so you need to be aware of the different I guess types of trains. So you have the IC, the Intercidades. You have the what is it? What's the fancy one? It's the
Alpha Pendula, AP.
Yeah, Alpha Pendula. And then you have the regionals, IR, the interregional.
IR. Absolutely.
And so basically I guess most common would be the ICs, Intercitidades, and they're nice, very nice. But you won't have reclining seats. You won't have necessarily a plug-in or trash bin or something like that, but it's fine. You do have to be careful if you're traveling with friends, because if you just book, say, hey, book 4 tickets, then they typically put you on the table in the middle, which means you don't really have any leg room because you're constantly fighting with each other's feet. So you can't really pick your seats, but if you do 2 and 2, you might get the regular seats. But and then if you've traveled the Alpha Pendulars, those are very nice, high speed, reclining, all the different bells and whistles. But be careful if you are traveling at night, because if you have any issues with claustrophobia or with vertigo or something, it can be a little bit strange, because you feel like you're in this tunnel for the entire 3 hours that you're riding, and so it can be it can mess with your head a little bit.
Well, you're just seeing lights rocketing
Yeah,
past.
you can't see anything out. It's just black, and all you see is the jostling in the train, and you can't see anything else for 3 hours. So that's a little bit odd experience. If you can see out,
a good time to sleep if you
brain can put it together. But
that makes sense.
And then the interregionals are pretty much what you would expect. They're very slow, squeaky, with stops every 2 minutes, but they get you there,
and with excellent graffiti often as well.
Often excellent graffiti, but you have to pay attention to the transfers. The conductors are very helpful, telling you, okay, where's the next train platform going to be? Are we getting in on the same platform as the other? You just walk across, blah, blah, blah. And usually your tickets are going to give you about 10 minutes or more. But in our case, the Lisboa to Tunis and the connection to the interregional was literally 2 minutes to make the connection.
That's stressful, isn't it?
So, the ticket lady intentionally gave us, when I did it online, it showed us the 2 minute connection, and I actually did some research, and they were telling, people were saying it's actually doable because you literally arrive at the same platform. There's only in and out, and you just walk 5 steps and get on the other train. And so it's like, okay, that should be fine. But when we bought the ticket in Braga, because other people who have traveled say, it's often best just to wait till the day of, and just get to the train station, make sure that you're actually physically there, as opposed to, and then you can still do it online while you're sitting in the waiting room or something. But the advantage there is because who knows, your schedules might change. They might have a train strike, whatever. So it's usually not an issue with the train being full. So we did that. We arrived an hour early. But this time I talked to the lady, and she actually gave us the connection that would be the one following the 2 minute one. She said, if you're there on time to make it, that's no problem. It's not like they check your ticket and there's you got the wrong one. It's, if you have the ticket, you can have a seat. There's no assigned seats or anything. And so in that train, we'd have to wait for an hour and a half for that one. So, but when we arrived, the train was there, and literally get your bag, walk down the steps, walk 5 steps across the platform, get on, sit down, train takes off. So that was good.
I bet you were relieved. I bet you were relieved though, weren't you, to be on that one?
So I was like, we made sure that we had our bags in hand when we before the train came to a stop, so we could just step down. See, it's just all a matter of just mental preparation and all that. But that's just train travel. So we did meet up with our friends, some of our friends. Well, 2 of our friends we came with, and 2 other friends that are also from Ponte De Lima are staying in Lagos at an Airbnb till April, and we met up with them for dinner a couple times. And Neil and Mary had some friends over in Tavira, and so they went over. Well, we drove them there and had dinner or lunch with them and walked around the city center and everything, but then enjoyed our time, but then left Neil and Mary, and they were going to stay overnight. And we came back to Lagos and then met them the next day in Faro. Enjoyed playing around in Faro, which was nicer than I thought it would be. So enjoyed the waterfront there quite a lot. Tavira, beautiful.
Did you imagine it would be a bit more touristy? Because Faro's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, I actually thought Faro would be more, it's not necessarily the destination town that people go to in the Algarve. It's, that's more Portimao and some of the Gulf resorts area in Lagos and other places. So Faro, that's the airport. That's the, more like the working class big city there. But it's actually really got a great city center and great waterfront and lots of really neat marina and boardwalk and restaurants and
the old town's lovely as well.
It's really, really nice. So I like that.
Yeah.
There's a little town, Lule. Yeah.
Yeah, not by the sea.
Up the hills.
Yeah.
Another day we went to, I sent you pictures and stuff when we went to the cliffs that are.
Let me play a bit of video because we've got a lovely video. I don't know if it looks like Beniguil. I don't know if it is. Let's have a look at it first and have a chat after. And you caught some great video of fishermen too. But I love this particular video. A minute here of the Algarve from John.
At high tide, it would be a good 5 or 6 feet higher, and then they'd be mooring right at these little ropes.
Wow, the relentless erosion of the land by the sea there. Looks like Beniguil. I'm not sure that it is.
No, that's the famous point just off of Lagos. It's Ponte de Piedade, Piedade, and that's where you can kayak to and take boats to and that sort of thing. But it's really very much worth it to go visit that spot. Actually, I have a video I should send you. If you notice the cliffs there, you might think that it's some kind of sandstone or something like that is easily erodible, but it's nothing of the sort. Let me see if I can find that for you. We can talk about something else while I'm looking for that.
Well, while you're doing that, let me just have a look at some of the chat that's coming in as well. Jackie the Humble Crafter is with us. Bon dia. She says, just woke and needed a cuppa. I know the feeling. What a lovely moment that is when the tea is hitting the tongue and all is well in the world. But until it happens, yes, a sense of desperation can creep in. So I feel your pain there, Jackie, and trust you are perhaps dressing gown on, curlers in hair, and nursing a nice cup of tea on your boat there. Funny you should say that, says Gary to Pete. I pressed the wrong button today, and the toilet attacked me with a water pistol. That sounds like a story from Tokyo, doesn't it? The roads down in the Algarve range from packed to potholed, says Pete. So getting the train sounds like a good option indeed. And thank you for your itinerary here, Mindful Midlife Travel. On our retirement research, we landed in Lisbon. The AP train that John was talking about to Albufeira for 5 days in the Algarve. Bus back northwest to overnight in Posada, Castelo Obich, as James taught us to say yesterday. Bus to Lisbon for 6 days with day trips to Tomar and Sintra as well. That sounds like a great trip. What fantastic itinerary there, which certainly did a lot, I would say, to certainly not put you off coming to Portugal. And you're back in April, if I remember correctly. Pete's got the penetrative jet attachment with his Japanese toilet. I think that's the technical translation possibly there. And yes, Darren is here as well this morning. And yes, Ponte de Piedad by Lagos. Lagos. What do we say, John? Have you settled on this yet? Because I've just said it so many times incorrectly. I'm saying Lagos.
I think it's right.
Yeah, Lagos. Okay.
Yeah.
And Pete's saying you'll have a wonderful, smashing time to mindful midlife travel. But here. He or she, he is.
This is Tintin.
Tintin the original, your first cat who I've met, but not your Prender, the new one. Lagos.
He's probably twice as big as when you saw him.
Yes. And Tamar is nice, Darren is saying, as well as a good morning. And yes, Ponte de Piedad by Lagos. There. Okay. And so the highlights then, were there any particular places that stood out? It just sounds like you had a generally lovely time.
I just sent you that video of the composition of the cliffs.
Oh, okay.
It's short, but I think informative because a lot of people don't necessarily look at them close up.
Okay, let's bring that onto the screen now then. Are we talking about a sort of like granity, as it turns out, not sandstone, but a bit more of a... Okay, all right, let's have a look at this then and see what... a little bit of a geology lesson from John here.
Yeah.
All right, for those curious about the formation of these cliffs, it's not sandstone. It's this aggregate shale concentrate of shells. Look at that. So it's a lot more solid than you think. There's clearly some sandstone and dirt and stuff that's in this, but all of this lower down stuff is actually pretty solid aggregate of this sort of rock. It's just full of a gajillion of these shells. It's amazing.
Wow. So it does look a little bit like a good tide could wash it away, but it's actually very solid.
Yeah, and if you think about it, I mean, that's 100 feet of nothing but shale cells. So it apparently was a sea bottom at one point with millions and millions of years of settlement, and so it's very rough and hard to the touch. I wouldn't drive a piton into it or something, but I mean, it probably won't hold that kind of thing because it's an aggregate, but it's certainly more solid than sandstone.
Wow, thank you for that. Very thoughtful, and we are being helped with this in a way that I'm just stuck like a rabbit in headlights now. But anyway, with mindful midlife travel, that's the trip to come. As I understand it. So forgive me there. Our first trip to Portugal is in April and can't wait. And you're getting a good tip from Antonio F here. Em Abril, águas mil. So in April, thousands of rain. So it can be rainy here in the spring in Portugal. So dress appropriately or bring some of the right clothes for dealing with that mindful midlife travel. And do send us pictures while you're here on 913-590-303. The default emphasis rule is to stress the penultimate, second to last syllable. So with a two-syllable word like Lagos, you stress the first syllable, Lagos. I'm going to go with, but that still might not be right because it's one of those things. The more you think about it and the more you try it, the worse it can become. I'm going to have a little rest on that for now. Only accent marks and certain letter combinations at the ends of words change this rule. What do you make of that, John?
Well, I'm now that I've been here for a year, a little bit, I'm concentrating a lot on listening and learning what sounds right and proper pronunciation as well. So that's an example to me of what sounded right was Lagos.
Yeah.
And because I'm trying to think, if I heard somebody, a Portuguese person say it, what would I expect to hear? So
Like evra,
yeah.
rather than avora. Yes. Okay.
So it's like I know when it's not right. I know when I hear something that doesn't sound right.
And James will tell us. James will tell us as well.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. So a successful trip then to the Algarve, John.
Yeah.
Thanks for the videos. Thanks for the pictures and those incredible fishermen.
Yeah, the last full day we went. Of course, had to make a pilgrimage to Sagres. You know, it's always a good thing.
Yeah.
And walk around the peninsula there with the fishermen fishing from 100-foot cliffs. And last time we were there, I didn't see anyone catching anything, and this time we did. So I sent you the videos and the pictures and stuff, and that was terrific. So yeah, they got a nice dorado that came up there. They call it also bream.
Yes.
And then we went after that to Cape St. Vincent. There's a famous British naval battle off the Cape there against the Spanish Armada and the French.
Oh wow!
And
you love your history, don't you? So
yeah, that was
great memories.
That was he was not an admiral yet, but Horatio Nelson was a commander, but that was one of his first naval engagements with I think Admiral Jarvis off the coast there. Yeah.
Wow,
so
fantastic!
Very famous English naval history battle.
Yeah, superb.
There, and then drive if you're ever down there, take a drive up the coast from Sagres, and then you can go inland. Then go up the coast a bit, and then inland towards Montchique, and just beautiful windy roads. You know, have a nice peppy car that you can do all the wiggle waggles, and then we got to Montchique, had some coffee, and hung out there for a little bit, and then drove back. So it's a wonderful day trip. Recommend it to everyone.
Yeah, inland Algarve is incredible, and you can dispatch any sort of prejudices or ideas you've got about the Algarve, haven't you, by spending some time there. It's rich and diverse as a place, and vast as well, isn't it? Tamar tip from Darren: there's a small free city museum art space worth popping into just at the riverside. That's great, thanks Darren. There's also a matchbox and matchstick museum in Tamar as well. There's all sorts going on in Tamar. Fantastic little town. Trivia for João de Norte: Nelson joined the Navy at 5 years of age.
Yeah.
Perhaps starting off as a cabin boy.
Up the cannon.
Yeah, worked his way from the bottom to the top there in the Navy by the sound of it. The fishing videos, John, I was thinking, you know how we project onto animals, or we tend to, but imagine the dorada, as you said, the gilt-head bream that are caught there. You presumably believe in heaven, being caught in the sea and then being wound 100 feet.
The heavens open up.
Yeah, being called skywards for 100 feet must be pretty extraordinary for any creature. Thanks for the tips, everyone. Says Mindful Midlife Travel. You're very welcome. That's what we're all about here. And you know, anything we can do to help you, just let us know. We will be checking the forecast just before we fly and repack according to weather. Don't worry. We've got the Chinese shop phenomena here. Mindful Midlife Travel. So if you do need a change of clothes, an umbrella, a pack-a-mac, you're never more than a short walk away from a Chinese shop, it would seem. So you'll be able to pick up those things very easily. Superb stuff. So a lovely time had in the Algarve. You've got plans, John, for traveling other parts?
Yeah.
You're going a bit further afield, are you? Out of
we're back for a month, and then we have plans with some other friends, Kevin and Diane, and we're going to go. We're going to take the high-speed rail, the Spanish high-speed from Vigo to Madrid. So it actually goes north to Santiago de Compostela first, and then down to Madrid. But it's nonstop. So that's what, a 3.5 hour by train, and then we will spend 3 nights in Madrid. Then we take the AVE, the AV high-speed, fancier one, from Madrid up to Barcelona, and we spend 3 nights in Barcelona, And then there's no easy way to get from Barcelona to Nice, France. So it's right on the Riviera, but you'd think there'd be some train or something. But you can get there by train, but it's like 12 hours, and you have to make 3 connections, and it finally gets there. So we decided we just take a 1-hour plane trip. So we just are flying from Barcelona to Nice, and then we're going to stay in Nice for 2 nights.
Yeah,
that's where we part company with our friends. They're going to go back to Portugal, and then we're going to not 90% sure that we're going to rent a car and drive from Nice through Monaco, do some window shopping and people watching on the Riviera, and see how many luxury supercars we can count.
Yeah.
And then we will drive to Milan, and then north to Lake Como, and we'll spend 3 nights in Lake Como.
Beautiful.
And then we'll return the car in Milan and take a train to Venice, and I think spend 2 nights in Venice. And then we'll take a train from Venice to Rome and spend 2 nights in Rome, and then Rome back to Porto, and we're back home.
How fantastic. You're so good at planning these, John. Have you had a lot of fun doing that?
Yeah, and you have to pay attention, because I booked this really nice riverfront Airbnb villa on Lake Como, and it came up with Booking.com, and it's highly recommended, 5-star, blah blah blah. So I was all really proud and happy about that, and I was just reviewing things and then looking closer where it was, and it wasn't anywhere near the
really?
town. It's on the lake, but it's a very big lake, and it's on some tributary farm, in the middle of nowhere, with no town or anything. It's just a place you just go and then stay in your hotel or something. So we wanted to be in Como, and so we could enjoy, go on lake excursions, but also enjoy the town and be able to walk around in restaurants and blah blah blah. So I'm going to have to cancel that one and get something else. So if I hadn't paid attention, I would have been disappointed. I'm sure it would have been nice, but it wasn't what I was planning to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, lovely. If you do get a chance to send us a picture or two on that, fantastic.
Oh, I will. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. That sounds wonderful. And then back with a view to possibly visiting this place. And I've made this a Portugal quiz question over at the Portugal Club. Of course, we've just talked about Spain, France, and Italy, the trip that you're doing. But you fancy this: the world's longest pedestrian suspension bridge happens to be in Portugal. Do you know it and where it is? Now, this is Arouca, isn't it, John?
Yeah, Arouca. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And it's literally really nowhere. I mean, it's if I were just to describe it, it's southeast of Porto. It's northeast from Aveiro. If you kind of draw your finger up the Douro River halfway, and then go south into the middle of nowhere, that's pretty much where it is. There's a little town called Alvarenga nearby, but it's not walking distance nearby. But so it's pretty much, if you're planning to go there, you're going there, not something else. And it is the longest pedestrian suspension bridge apparently in the world. Certainly not the highest. I mean, it is high, but it's not the highest even in Europe. But it is the longest, and it looks very well made.
Thankfully.
And my understanding is you do have to plan ahead. You do need to get tickets. And whilst you can, I think, go from either direction, my understanding is that they closed the bridge on one side or the other, depending. So you have to be mindful that you don't walk across the bridge and then go for a nice hike or something and come back and, oh, the bridge is closed. And you're on the backside of nowhere. So I think that happened to...
there's no Chinese shop there to buy a tent.
Josh and Kaylee, expats everywhere, they have a video from a couple years ago where they went there, and that happened to them. They were on the backside of the bridge, and it closed, and I think they had to flag down a taxi or something like that.
Oh, really? Oh, it's all good content, though, isn't it? That sounds like a great story. Well, it's a long way to go to be terrified, isn't it? And if you are afraid of heights, I've got their official video. And look, this is the hand of Mrs. M, which I hope is going to be making...
Mrs. M is terrified of heights, apparently. She's volunteering. Or she's just saying hi. I thought she was saying, I am.
You fancy it? Well, you watch this, Mrs. M, with us. John, I've got their official video. It really is a long way to go and be terrified, isn't it? So you need to be sure you want to be walking this bridge, because there's not really anything else there, is there, apart from using the bridge and getting stuck the wrong side of it. So there's a couple of minutes of the experience you can have over there.
Yeah, and if you walk...
Sorry, John, go ahead.
I was just saying, if you're with me, I'll be jumping up and down on it too.
Yeah, you don't want to be going with somebody like that who starts swinging it when you're halfway over. Okay, a couple of minutes of terror. Look the other way or go make a cup of tea or coffee if you don't like heights. That's quite amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, it really does. And I think it's 516, isn't it? Because is it 516 meters long?
I'm not sure what the 516. Maybe it's an address.
Yeah. It's the only thing there, so you're all right. Oh, no. I think Antonio F might have sent us a pronunciation, which is great. We'll play that in just a moment. Mrs. M's review of it was, I'm not going there.
But look at the terrain around there. That just looks like a fabulous drive just to get there.
Yes.
Through the hills, south of the Douro, and to this magnificent destination. We should do something where we plan to meet there, and we all do it, and then we can go have coffee and a pastry at that town nearby.
It'd have to be some beer, I think. The Englishman, the Irishman.
Oh, and have a dinner or something. But it's a good place. Like we all just kind of meet there,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea. A fantastic idea for one of our discovery. Probably not a weekend, but just a day out, right?
Oh, a day out, yeah.
Darren, surprised I didn't make it from Slippery Tiles. That is a great idea, I think, isn't
Cobbles,
it?
Yeah.
It's, get some calçadas on there for the ultimate Portuguese experience on a slightly rainy day. Antonio F appreciating that. That's the upgrading project. Pam's in. Morning to you, Pam. Bon dia. And hola, cloudy here in Madeira today. Ocean Dweller Aviva. Looked awesome, says Squire of the Shires. Nice. Certainly a nice bit of engineering. Putting that together. Must have been a great job for guys who like that sort of thing. That bridge looks so safe compared to the ones in Nepal. Far more modern and less like the Indiana Jones string ones at over 4,000 foot drop. Car and bus wrecks at the bottom. Yikes! That bridge looks great.
No
That's right. Just put your foot down and pray. 516 is the length in meters of the bridge. Thanks, Antonio, for that.
There you go.
And we've been a few times. Bach Andy has been there and loved it. Suspended in the sky.
Picture for Andy.
Yeah, 175 meters above the River Paiva. With milk, yes, please, Mrs. M. I'm a little bit hungover, and you won't be surprised to hear that. So a creamy coffee would be very nice. Suspended in the sky, 175 meters above the River Paiva in the Arouca Geopark UNESCO territory. 516, Arouca is born. That sounds like he's cut and pasted that from the website there. Ooh, I would have enjoyed being on the construction crew. Bob, not afraid of a bit of there, so maybe you'll join us on that. Duro.
Let's do it, Bob. Let's do it.
His pronunciation over there. Let's see if this message incoming from Antonio is a pronunciation. Let's have a listen.
Bom dia, Carl. Remember, O-U is red O. So it's Arouca, Loures, Douro, etc. Have a good day.
Isn't that thoughtful of Antonio? Thanks for that, mate. So Arouca. Arouca. Yeah, okay. That's wonderful. Thank you very much for that. And as James is pointing out there, of course, Douro rather than Duro. Thanks very much. Ongoing challenge and practice for us. So, John, yeah, I think that's a great idea. Meeting up there at Arouca, the 516 meters long and soon to be covered in calçadas if Darren has his way to make it the ultimate scary experience in Portugal. Anything else you want to share with us? We haven't really talked about your hometown. In the sleeve notes for this, I say you've made a home, recently made a home in the north of Portugal. It's been a while, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. A couple of local doings. We've started a paddle group. So there's about 7 or 8 of us that play paddle once a week. We're trying to play paddle once a week. Yes. And yeah. Who doesn't like it first thing in the morning? But we're just a bunch of old farts doing it, running around, hoping not to break our knees. But there's some really competitive ladies teams and men's teams. When we were there this last Saturday, the Ponte De Lima Women's League was playing the Viana, and really good. And so there's a gallery above that you can watch. So it's actually quite a nice facility.
Great.
So good exercise and a combination of squash and racquetball and what you British call real tennis. It's literally called real tennis, which is played kind of like the way the Kings did back in the day in a big court with walls and things. But it's on a smaller scale. So you have a glass wall or a polyglass plastic wall on the back sides and a little bit of the back sides and back, and then you have a steel mesh along the middle bits, and so that's where it's more of an unpredictable rebound. But you play the rebound, so it's not like tennis. You just smash the serve. Well, here if you're smashing the ball, then it just rebounds off the back, and it can be an easy return. So it's not a game of power; it's a game of positioning and placement. So it's
strategy.
Yes. It's all strategy. It's all like chess. So it's all positioning, placement, strategy, and teamwork. So it's usually played. I won't say it's always played, but I pretty much think it's always played as a doubles, as opposed to singles. I guess it could be played singles, but.
That's the beauty of it, though, isn't it, from a sociability point of view? And that's the one. So you've got the paddle played in the aquarium, as it were, and pickleball played on a more open court, the other alternative.
Yeah, and with paddle, you're playing with basically a tennis ball. It's slightly less pressure, so it doesn't have the PSI of a full tennis ball, so it doesn't have quite the rebound and things. And the racket is not as long, so your spatial awareness, if you're used to playing tennis, is all wacky because it's a short racket. But with pickle, it's kind of almost like a plastic ball, and it doesn't go anywhere. Whereas this is much. I mean, you can play it at all ages, but it's not quite it has more gives you more of a tactile response when you're hitting it.
Yeah. Yes. Well, good luck with that, John.
Yeah.
The racquetball with a net and outdoors.
Yeah, and getting together with friends and people around here for all kinds of different things. A birthday party for someone tomorrow. I recently planted a bunch of hydrangeas and have dozens more to plant. So learned all about planting hydrangeas. I don't know if any of you are green thumbs and into gardening and things, but hydrangeas are one of those strange plants where you can just take a cutting, soak it in water, for several days, and like sugar water or something. But it never when it's in the water in the jar or whatever, it doesn't produce roots that a lot of times you just sort of let it take root in the jar and then plant. It won't do that. You just stick them in the ground, but you can prep it. You take the bottom 10, 15 centimeters, and you strip it off to the green, and you snip off the bottom. But that way, when you plant it in soil, it's not just the little bit at the end that's absorbing nutrients. It's the entire stick. And so you dig a little hole about 6 inches deep. Maybe fill it with some topsoil, and then stick that in. Pack it in with the dirt that you dug up, so it has some of the local soil that's there too. And I'm planting like three sticks per one, because I got these from Viv, and she gave me, gosh, must be like 50 of them.
Yes.
But I was watching along the Avenida de Plantas, the big avenue of the plane trees here, and local crew were going through all of the hydrangeas planted there and doing the same exact thing with the clippings and prepping them, and then they sell them in the market just like that, because they all have when they're trimming them, they all have the little buds at the end, and so you're trimming and when you're buying them in the store, rather than if you're just getting them natural, but you can buy them in the market, and they'll all have the little buds at the top.
Yeah, back in the day, this was no disrespect to Viv or you. This was the granny plant, wasn't it? You'd often see them outside grandma's house, the hydrangea, certainly in the UK. And they've got the lovely, delicate little flower, haven't they? And Squire of the Shires, this is it.
It's not a lovely, delicate little flower. No, it's massive.
But the little petals are nice, aren't they? They're almost,
yeah. I mean, the flower itself is like that, and it's got little.
Yeah. And have you gone for red or blue? Squire of the Shires is asking.
Purple, red, blue, and pink. So they're all various different shades, but it depends on the pH of the soil. So I forget which one it is, but if it's acidic, you get one color. If it's alkali, you get another color. But up here we get
gardener. It's amazing. Look, just remember, hydro equals water. Lots of watering required, or boggy land. Hydrangea, and as I understand it, the color of the hydrangea flowers.
You need lots of water, and you often see them in the sunlight. I mean, full sunlight, but apparently when they're growing, they prefer semi-shade. So it's not good when they're young to just be in full sunlight all the time, because it's less likely that they'd be as hydrated as they need to be.
Very good. Who knew that we'd have a hydrangea moment this morning? What's that, Mrs. M? Okay, the mystery has been solved here. That's why our hydrangea didn't work. Thanks for that, John. Hampton Court. It's been a very diverse program this morning. 2 cups of coffee. Thank you. Hampton Court has a fantastic real tennis court. You can book it out. Built in 1528. Hampton Court. No, it's just the way I walk. Built in 1528. It's only 496 years old. Can you remember them building it, Carl? only just there, Pete. And there are lots of hydrangeas in the Azores, says Antonio F. as well. Yeah, of course. There.
Yeah, we have hydrangeas coming out of our ears up here. Just walking along the Ecovia, just out in the woods, you'll see wild hydrangeas just growing. You walk along the farm fields, and the farm fields are entirely bordered with hydrangeas. So it's like amazing.
Yep. And Pam has been, we saw a picture of the bus, looking out the bus window before Pam got onto the A8. And she was on the way to the Banksy Museum in Lisbon, as it turned out. And that's highly recommended as well. So mindful midlife, you might like to stick that on your itinerary as well. And you're saying here we have purple and blue hydrangeas in our front yard here in Virginia, East Coast US. Beautiful. Thank you very much for being here and saying hi, Mindful Midlife Travel. And thank you to you, John. We're going to finish with a bit of snow in Montana from the OLP. But John, thanks so much. It's always great fun talking to you. And we have a wide-ranging and diverse conversation with all sorts of aspects that we have life in Portugal.
You never know.
No, we never know what's going to happen. It's a box of chocolates.
I'm going to try to get Bob and Viv to go to the suspension bridge with me. And Bob promised something we'll do a little video of later, but sometime in this year we're going to go karting. So there's a good kart race course around here. So there's a bunch of us that are interested in doing that.
All right. And I believe there are osteopaths and chiropractors handing out cards at the end of the kart track as well, should you have a little bit of a prang while you're doing that. In this area, Squire of the Shire, says Bob, the Bob that you're just talking about, there are amazing varieties of colours, even in a tight row. That's interesting. And have a great day, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Owen with us, of course, tomorrow for Craft Beer Corner with James from the Anson Brewery. First time for Craft Beer Corner. And we've got some lovely photos and video. The craft beer scene in Portugal is fantastic. So we're celebrating that once a month now. And we're starting tomorrow with Owen and James. Até a próxima, Owen. And sounds lovely, Bob from Squire of the Shires. So thanks, John. Let's finish with a little bit of snow. And I might just very quickly touch in on Jorge Branco's news coverage. But cheers, John. A nice big round of applause for you. Take care. Oh, that's not the applause. All right, mate. Here's I need to give you some list. Thanks, John. Ciao, ciao. And a little bit of snow from Montana. That's beautiful. Who doesn't like a light dusting first thing in the morning? Thank you very much for that, OLP. And as I said, a quick mention of Jorge Branco. This is a very good news source in English. He calls it Portuguese news in English for estrangeiros, and by Jorge Branco, who I've commended to you from time to time. And his headlines on this one that was published this morning: Portuguese farmers block roads with tractors. And you can subscribe to his Substack. And I'll put the address for doing so into the chat before we go. Continue reading. I'm going to click for a moment. Xenophobic and anti-racist rallies in Lisbon. That's coverage of that from last weekend. Former PM José Sócrates to stand trial, and some in brief news as well, which is also interesting from Jorge Branco. And on a lighter note, there's that really hilarious IKEA ad suggesting that their Kallax shelves are a really good place to hide 75,800 euros should you have that knocking about in your office, which is a nice little political and corruption dig there. Where are we doing the craft beer session? We're doing that on the show tomorrow. We're talking to James from Anson Brewery, and we'll have Owen with a craft beer related recipe tomorrow morning as well. Also on hydrangeas, they contain a variety of minerals and nutrients. Can we eat them? Us preppers here want to know if we can eat them. They are packed full of minerals such as calcium, magnesium, sulfur, and phosphorus. Imagine it's a herbal remedy of some sort then, maybe not a salad. The flower is also a sound provider of flavonoids. Regular consumption of flavonoids is known to reduce the risk of some chronic health conditions. Wow, Squire of the Shires. So, is the hydrangea a herbal remedy of some sort, or do people eat the flowers? I wonder. Maybe that conversation about hydrangeas can continue tomorrow. Great job, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. As I said, Craft Beer Corner, the first of its kind, and the return of Owen, the food alchemist. So will be joining us at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning after a bit of a gumper gathering from 8:30. So we'll see you then. Have a great day. I'm off to the market myself right now, and look forward to your company in the morning. Take care. Bye for now.